Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? People that survive major disasters tend to have one thing in common, and that is they act. They realize that something is amiss, and then they get the hell out of Dodge. In the meantime, other people hesitate, and that can very often be fatal. And as I was considering this very recently, I realized this is just like the rest of our lives. What do I mean? Well, strap in, sit down. Let's talk. So I got re-interested in this topic very recently. Some video randomly came across my Facebook feed. It might have been on the Big Think or something, where this researcher who researches disaster survivors was talking about this phenomenon and how people react to disasters. And that reminded me that I'd been very interested in the subject years ago and watched documentaries and read some books on it because there's some very interesting things that happen with people. Some people immediately realize something is wrong. Maybe they hesitate for a while, but then they do whatever they need to do to get out of danger because they realize this is a very serious situation and they need to act. And even if people are telling them, no, stay at your desk, like they did at the World Trade Center, unfortunately, they say, the hell with that. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm out of here. But that's not what a lot of people do. Some people, like I just mentioned, well, they're afraid to look foolish and do anything. A lot of people, have this consensus thing. What do you think we should do? Do you think this is serious? Do you think this is another fire drill? What do you think about this? And it takes them a time. They ask a bunch of people. I think the researcher said 6 before they decide what to do. Some people just freeze up and they become so scared that they do what comes naturally, which probably worked for our ancestors on the savannah, that they freeze and like, okay, well, if you don't move, the lion can't see you. If you don't move, it can't see you, right? Maybe that worked in the past, but they're in a burning plane that's filling up with smoke and they perish because they just freeze up. And a lot of people just kind of pretend that nothing unusual is happening. And the researcher talked about this idea that there were people in an intersection, gunshot rings out, and everybody just looks up for a second and just keeps walking, scrolling on their phone, whatever. Turns out somebody just gotten shot like a few hundred yards away, and all of those people were in danger of getting hit by a stray bullet. I remember, a situation in my own life where years ago I'm in a convenience store and an argument got pretty heated, and I'm sitting there watching it. It came really close. I'm pretty sure somebody would have drawn heat between the shop owner and an irate customer, and I just kind of froze up. And I should have just got the hell out of there because it was kind of a dangerous situation. In hindsight, I didn't do the right thing, but I got lucky that particular time. But people have the wrong reaction to these things. They become paralyzed. They just, or they just deny what's really going on. This is just like real life. Okay, maybe we don't have the same level of danger in our lives in certain situations, but what about that job that's sucking your soul? What about the relationship that just makes you feel small and is slowly killing you, or maybe killing you quicker? Maybe it's the addiction that's killing you, or maybe it's the group that you're involved in. Maybe you're involved in a band or a game group, and it's like, this really isn't the one for me, and but you tell yourself, what, it's not that bad. You tell yourself the relationship isn't that bad, or you can survive a job. That's what people have to do, and that's what I do for now. Or I'm just, it's all right. I don't need to do anything about it. Or we just fall into this paralysis. I don't know what to do, and for a long time I was in that mode of paralysis. Regarding my job and what do I do next for a career. I don't know what to do. I'm still fighting that battle, and you get paralyzed, and then you don't do anything. And I remember, recovery is a really poignant thing for me. That was a huge moment for me because I was stuck in this cycle of addiction for years, and it was killing me, and it was killing me slowly until it was killing me quickly. And I just got to this point where I just, for a moment, didn't deny, didn't rationalize anything. And even though I was scared, I made the calls to get help. And, I took action, and I took action before it took my life, and it was definitely going to. And if it didn't, it still would have been miserable for a long, long time. If I made it this far, I don't think I would have. But I had finally made that decision to act, and thank goodness I did. But all these other areas of my life, I've had things where I've had to leave relationships that were the wrong relationship. And, I was better off for having done that. And, there's been other situations where I've just had to leave. There's game groups I've had to leave. There's bands I've had to leave because of the same thing. And sometimes it's a little bit more difficult because you're dealing with people and you don't want to be a jerk, but you have to do what's right for you. because you're still in a certain amount of danger. And the danger you're in is not perishing in a fire or building collapse, but of squandering your most precious resource, which is time. And in the case of, bad relationships, squandering your self-esteem, your integrity, and these are precious, precious things that we don't need to squander. So we have to, when we start to treat the situations that we're in as just as dire and just as dangerous to us psychically, emotionally, financially, whatever it might be, intellectually, as these really serious disasters, then that gives us the impetus to act. Nobody's coming to save us, unfortunately. I wish they would, but so far they haven't. Because it's not just about avoiding pain either. It's about like creating joy. It's not just leaving the old relationship. It's getting a new relationship that actually means something. So you got to ask yourself, are you in any quiet disasters right now? What would happen if you stopped participating in that? If that light stopped flickering and, you stopped pretending everything was fine and you did something about it, what would happen then? Are you ready to act?